U.S. President Barack Obama's inauguration is just around the corner, but some are getting a head start on the lobbying efforts. In a letter sent to the president today, Saskatchewan Premier Brad Wall urged the approval of the Keystone XL pipeline. For more, we're joined by the Premier, and he joins us from Regina. Welcome to Market Sense, Premier Wall.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Can you take us through the steps of constructing a letter to the President of the United States on a specific issue and then getting 10 state governors to sign on? I assume this isn't something that started yesterday.
No, we started, actually, I thought about this in November. We were contemplating going to the Western Governors meeting, to attending that meeting, and decided not to. We often do attend those meetings. Premiers will attend regional governors meetings regularly, and we didn't go to that meeting, but that's when we started thinking about the notion of a letter from Canada, from our province, where we would have the support of governors along the route, of the proposed route for Keystone, and others as well. And, you know, it came together. We're fortunate to have a great team in the United States. We don't have a trade office, as some provinces do, but we have a good relationship with the former U.S. Ambassador to Canada, David Wilkins, whose firm helps us to organize these things. And we're grateful to have 10 governors of support, and notably the new Democratic governor of Montana, who had just himself sent a letter as Attorney General months ago before his election as governor, and so he's part of the press release and as supporting the position, but not on the letter. This project's important for the province of Saskatchewan as well as Alberta, as well as Canada, because it gives us a chance to reduce or eliminate the differential between West Texas Intermediate and Brent crude price. Right now, that's the WTI price is what Saskatchewan people get for their resource. They could be doing about $15 a barrel better on any given day, and that's $300 million to our treasury, $2 billion to the industry. Plus, 1 in 7 barrels of oil in the pipeline is going to be oil from the Bakken Formation, which we have a large part of. And that'll ease pipeline capacity as well. And so, by the way, that's an important message to our friends in the United States. This is not only oil sands oil. Some of it's American oil, from a very light sweet crude from the Bakken Formation in North Dakota and Montana.
Premier Wall, you'd assume a lot of those benefits that you talked about would also benefit the province of Alberta, and yet we saw Premier Redford's signature was missing from this letter. Did you approach her for a signature, and is there a reason that she decided not to sign on?
No, it's not missing at all. You know, we have a very good relationship with Alberta. We work together on a number of issues, especially on the energy file. And, you know, I hope it's helpful that a province other than Alberta, who have the oil sands, would weigh in. It does draw attention to the fact that this has national benefits. This involves conventional oil. It involves the differential question. You know, the province of Alberta, Premier Redford herself and cabinet ministers have been very much pressing this case, both as Nebraska is going through their process, but also in the U.S. Capitol. And we have too, by the way. Over and above this issue, we've taken a number of invitations to speak in the United States, and we've talked about energy independence and Canadian oil and Keystone. And so I think it's helpful to have a number of voices, and I hope this is going to be constructive. More important than the provinces, I think, are the governor's support, which I hope will resonate in the U.S. Capitol.
Premier Wall, why don't we talk about that a little bit more in terms of the strength of the governor's signatures, 10 of them on this as well, in the sense that we've talked about it, or it has been talked about in terms of the Keystone XL pipeline providing jobs, providing security, energy security. So what is the new portion here that you think will sway the U.S. government?
Well, I'm not sure there's anything new we've presented that the Obama administration is unaware of, to be fair, but the decision hasn't been made, and anyone we've talked to who might have some idea of what's happening inside the administration really is unable to give a definitive answer as to what might happen. 50-50 in terms of approval or not is usually the guess we get from others. Because of that, I think it's important that we be diligent, that we not be complacent, that we press our case, and I think our case is made better when it's made together jointly with other American interests, when we are also highlighting some things that may be not top of mind for people when it comes to Keystone, like the 1 in 7 barrels being American oil, or at least conventional oil, the impact on places other than Alberta. I think the timing is perfect. We're going to have a decision here shortly, and we need to make sure we are very much part of the discussion and the dialogue. We see groups against Keystone are coming out now as well.
A fair point. And what about the fact that the U.S. will soon have a new Secretary of State? How does that potentially play out in your mind?
I remember meeting then Senator Kerry in one of our recent, I guess maybe a few years ago now, missions to Washington, and we did talk about energy. And I know the senator is very concerned on environmental issues. Obviously, Canada has a strong case to make in terms of a country that, yes, is an energy superpower, yes, is home to the oil sands, but a country that is also, I think, on a per capita basis, investing more publicly and from the private sector in ensuring that our energy extraction and development is more and more sustainable than any other place in the world with which the United States may do business. I remember having that discussion and it being received well. And so, you know, we'd be very hopeful that the then Secretary Kerry will take that view with respect to Keystone.
Senator Wall, BMO Capital Markets recently released a report, and they suggest that the economy in Saskatchewan should be expected to downshift. How do you respond to that, and how do you feel about the position of your province right now?
You know, we have a number of other reports out from the chartered banks and from the conference board that show Saskatchewan in a lead position in terms of growth. Some of them have adjusted down, some have not. You know, even a downward shift in growth, I think, with respect to BMO and others, there's still a growth rate there. You know, the world is still a very unsure place economically. We're not immune to any of that. But we see continued strength in the resource sector. Certainly we saw potash sales recently and indications of more to come. And we have an increasingly diversified economy. We've had some manufacturing sales, some building permit numbers, some export numbers that are just out that say something different perhaps. 11 months into the year, our exports are up 7%, but the countries are only up, I think, about 1%. And we're looking to do even better than we did last year, diversifying into Asian markets to a greater extent. So we're not immune to what's going on around the world, but you know, we have forecasters saying we'll lead the country, and we're going to work hard to try to make sure they're right.
Premier Wall, great to see you. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Saskatchewan Premier Brad Wall, and he joined us from Regina.